Parents in India see a growth chart at almost every pediatric visit, yet it remains one of the most misunderstood tools in child health. I am Dr. Sirisha Kusuma. I am a pediatric endocrinologist based in Hyderabad. Today, let us slow things down and do a proper show and tell using the Indian Academy of Pediatrics growth charts. Because once you understand what this chart is really showing, a lot of growth related anxiety settles. A growth chart is simply a way to track how a child grows over time compared to healthy Indian children of the same age and sex. It does not diagnose illness on its own. It does not label children as normal or abnormal. It gives us context over time. When you first look at an IAP growth chart, a few things stand out. Along the bottom, you will see the age, usually in months for younger children and years for older ones. Along the side, you will see height or weight measured in centimeters and kilograms. Running across the chart, there are smooth curved lines. These lines are called percentile lines. Percentiles are not grades, they are not targets. They simply show how a child compares to other children of the same age and sex. If your child is on the 25th percentile, that means that out of 100 children of the same age, about 25 would be shorter or lighter and about 75 would be taller or heavier. There is no single correct percentile. Once parents understand what they are seeing, the next question is how to read it properly. As a pediatric endocrinologist, I care much less about which percentile a child is on and much more about whether the child is tracking along the same percentile over time. A child who remains on the 10th or 25th percentile and grows steadily is usually growing well. Concerns arise when a child crosses percentiles repeatedly, especially if the child crosses downward over several visits. Growth should always be looked at as a trend. One visit never tells the full story. At this point, parents often ask a very natural question. So, how tall is my child expected to be? This is where family height becomes helpful. We estimate genetic height potential using a method called mid-parental height. This is not a prediction and this is not a promise either. It gives us an approximate genetic range. How do we calculate this? For a boy, we add the mother's height and the father's height and add 13 centimeters and divide the total by 2. For a girl, we add both parents' heights, subtract 13 centimeters and divide by 2. The number we get is the midpoint, not the final height. We then allow a range of about plus or minus 8 to 10 centimeters on either side. Many healthy Indian children fall slightly above or below this range. That can still be completely normal. This calculation adds context to the growth chart. This is not a target your child needs to reach. So this is an important point for many Indian families. Over the last few decades in India, access to better nutrition, vaccinations, healthcare, sanitation, and overall living conditions have improved significantly. Because of this, many children today are able to reach more than their genetic potential than their parents could. So it is increasingly common to see children who are taller than one or both parents, and this can be completely normal. In contrast, in many developed countries, these improvements happened several generations ago. Once nutrition and healthcare became consistent across generations, average height gains slowed and eventually stabilized. So, when an Indian child appears taller than expected based on parental height alone, it often reflects better early life conditions, but not a problem. When I look at an IAP growth chart along with parental heights, I am not expecting a toddler to resemble their adult height yet. What I look for is steady, consistent growth that broadly fits the family pattern over years, not months. A taller child in a family with shorter parents can still be growing normally if their growth curve is stable and appropriate for age. Growth charts and height potential are guides. They are not judgments, and most children are growing exactly the way their bodies were designed to. Now that we learned how to read growth charts, Let us understand why toddlers grow in this irregular way. Once you understand how growth actually works in toddlers, many worries naturally soften. When parents think about hormones, they often imagine teenage years. But hormones are very active in everyone, including toddlers. Growth, appetite, sleep, and even mood are hormonally influenced. The key is understanding that toddler hormones work in bursts, not in smooth lines, and that is completely normal. Hormones are chemical messengers. In toddlers, they act more like light switches than dimmer switches, turning on and off in response to sleep, nutrition, stress, and illness. Growth hormone, thyroid hormone, insulin, cortisol, they all are present, but at levels designed for slow, steady development. This means you won't see daily consistency. A week of low appetite or high energy does not mean something is wrong. The most important thing to remember is that toddler hormone systems are adaptive, they are not fragile. They are designed to handle variability. How does that hormonal rhythm translate into what parents actually notice? Growth spurts. Toddler growth happens in spurts, not inches per month. Growth hormone is released mostly during deep sleep, not continuously through the day. It is secreted in pulses, especially during slow wave sleep. That is why growth happens in spurts, not steady daily increments. We cannot stimulate those pulses by feeding more during the day. They are rhythm driven, not volume driven. That is why growth often follows periods of good sleep, even if eating has not been perfect. Nutrition matters, but it is long-term patterns that count, not individual meals. A few picky days do not stop growth. This spurt and pause pattern is one of the most common reasons parents worry unnecessarily. So you may notice weeks where nothing changes, followed by sudden clothing size changes. That is typical growth. You have already seen how we interpret the chart. Now let us understand why the pattern looks irregular. A child at the 10th percentile can be perfectly healthy. A child at the 90th percentile can be too. What concerns endocrinologists is not where a child is on the chart, but whether they are crossing percentiles repeatedly without explanation. One measurement never tells the story. Trends do. So what determines whether your child lands on that chart? That is when we come to genetics. Height is strongly genetic. If parents are shorter or taller, children usually follow that trajectory. Nutrition and health do matter, but they fine-tune genetics rather than override them. Most parents overestimate how much control they have over height. A balanced diet and good sleep support growth, but they do not create a taller child than genetics would allow. That is not failure, that is just biology. Once growth is understood, the next major source of anxiety is appetite, weight, and sleep routines and movement. And that will be the topic of the next session.